Hey, you have a second? Sam and I were just having a, discussion, and I wanted someone else's input.
I think it's more accurate to say that you and I have now both been cornered, but sure.
I'd like to, get in shape, do some working out. So I asked Vladimir for some tips, and he basically said weightlifting was a bad idea.
Are you sure that's what he said, or is it just what you heard?
Anyway, so I wanted to get Sam's opinion on it, and he pretty much said the same thing.
Okay, since now you've been fully roped into this, let's all just take a step back. I had simply pointed out that if you take a look at Mateo, weightlifting isn't necessarily the first thing that comes to mind. I was wondering whether there might be a better option for him, and just sort of musing in general about the idea of sticking to things you're inclined to, versus going out and trying something completely new. Well, what's your take on it? You think it's better to stick to what you know, or to take any opportunity to try something that's maybe outside your comfort zone? I feel like maybe you dodged the question there, but okay. Also, I bet you 10 credits if Vlad said something similar.
Of course I'd be careful. Anyway, thanks. I think I'm gonna try it. And don't worry, I'll be sure and ask Vladimir for pointers.
Hey, we'll support you no matter what. Just don't want to see you get hurt is all.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. And maybe if I need a spotter.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Well, there's no other people my age here at the lodge, so it's going to be kind of tough. Actually, Noelle is pretty nice. She said she'd teach me some stuff about science. Pick up where my mom left off. Besides that, I don't really care if I make friends or not. You and Sarah are the only friends I'll ever really need. I don't know if I'll ever get used to being around all these people. Everyone hurrying around, talking, eating, drinking, doing a million things. It's so weird, but kind of exciting at the same time, Going from a planet with a population of 3 to this one is going to take a lot of patience and trust, that's for sure.
You colored the wrong wires. Station showing red. UC originally had all the tech filed and serialed, but we needed a little more of the oomph, so there's a slapdash of Freestar parts and jury rigs. Expected a few of them to blow us short, but the fixing is going to take time.
I won't leave you hanging, Vladimir. Cora and I can stay with you until the eye is back to 100%.
No need for the martyr's clothes, but I'm happy to have the help. As for you, while we're giving the eye the swords, need to tip your ear on another matter when you got the time. Don't want to worry anyone, but we got more competition. Not Starborn, rival collector. Captain Petrov owns a salvager vessel called the Scow, runs it like a palace of novelties, and he's got a new prize in his collection. The Scavenger hires every gun and knife willing to chop relics out of their owner's hands for pay. Scrapes out any derelict ships his mosquitoes can find. Reached out through my hand-to-hands to see if we can do an honest swap. He says the rock ain't for sale for any price. Think we're gonna need a crowbar and bag for this one. He's got a reputation for seeing the gold in things, but he's no lab coat. Thinking he knows it's unique, but not why. All the more reason to clutch tightly. Left the life of a jack-of-bones behind myself. I know what I'm asking. But I see a clutch prize not up for the prying any other way. Not sending you lone hook on the job. I want Barrett with you on this one. You two will be foot to foot the whole way, so make sure you're ready. As we always say, each member of Constellation is their own conscience. I'll leave the details of the doing to you. Catch a smile out there.
You don't have business with the Scow. Our captain is not taking visitors.
Hey, you tell Petrov his old buddy Barrett is here to see him. He'll want to talk to us right away.
Barrett, constellation. You're specifically on the list of people not allowed on the scow under any circumstances.
Oh, right. Forgot about that. If I could just talk to Petrov myself, I'm sure he'd want to put that all behind us.
Go. Away. No one uninvited boards the scow. Captain's orders. The captain does love flatterers. We could use the money. I don't know if you'll convince the captain, though. All right. I'll clear you to dock. Keep yourself out of trouble, or we'll have every hired gun in the cargo bay after you.
We'll let you on board. Thought Petrov was done hiring mosquitoes. Or maybe you're after something from the captain's collection. Well, he calls us. Some old Earth term. Yeah? What kind of salvage work you do? Ship? Ground battlefield? Or do you just skulk the back alleys picking through trash? Ugh, I hate running through a dead ship. Like sifting through a damn tomb.
I like the quiet myself. Good time to reflect and concentrate.
You're all right, scavenger. Go on ahead. Traded for it. Some dusty hauling ore from the fringe. Was glad when he left. It's all shakes and muttering. Strewn about all over. The good stuff's locked up in a vault for Petrov's own personal viewing pleasure. And before you ask, Petrov's the only one with the keys, so don't try bribing any of the crew. You'll just waste your money. Petrov's got a whole little alien zoo in the back. He's asking for trouble with those things. But the locks on the cages are pretty high-end. Thankfully.
I wasn't aware we had the visitors. Waddick, you didn't tell me we had visitors.
We have visitors.
Excellent. Now that you've gone to all this trouble to get here, you should make yourself at home. Relax. Kick up your feet on the tables. I don't care, they have scorch marks on them anyway. Oh, flattery, huh? My favorite pastime, huh? Between you and me, I do have something very special in the vault. But my jealous heart knows no bounds. I want to keep it all to myself. Tempting. I do love showing off. But my security team will have a heart attack. It would be against all those protocols that I admittedly told them to make. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Oh, you do have a point. I suppose it would be quite unfriendly to turn down a comrade in arms. Very well. What's a quick look going to hurt, huh? The man who sold me this told me that it spoke to him. That holding it for the first time was like drowning in your own soul. Alas, I've held it several times, and my soul is still breathing, devoid of any such enlightenment. Why, yes, he did. Oh, no. No. I can't. This one is mine. And it's only fair to warn you. Hands off. I would hate to sour our new friendship by becoming the victim of piracy.
We're not pirates, Petrov. We're explorers.
who might do a bit of piracy on the side as a hobby sometimes.
Then I suppose it's just a question whether my immeasurable love for my collection and my crew of hired cutthroats is enough to stop you. Go ahead. Make a move for the artifact. Let's see what happens.
Would it help if I said we needed it for scientific research?
Don't kill me!
The captain's word is good.
Done! Stand down, everyone. Let the nice pirate pass.
The eye's gone completely dark. I can't reach anyone on the station.
Noel, Starborn, came out of nowhere.
Vladimir, get out of there!
He already left. Said he was going to the lodge. Sam, he's still breathing, but oh God, all that blood!
Hello, Constellation. Are you there?
Who are you? What did you do to our friends?
They call me the Hunter. And now that I'm here, your part in glimpsing the Unity is over. I'm already on my way. Say goodbye to your friends. It won't be long.
Forget about us! That Starborn bastard is after the artifacts! You can't let him take them! Pack up the collection, move it somewhere they can't find it!
Damn it. Vladimir's right. We need to get the artifacts packed up, and that means holding off the Starborn.
What about everyone on the Eye? We can't leave them to die up there.
Look, I get it, but our best chance is staying here.
I don't know how long it's gonna take to pack up the artifacts. I'll get started.
If you're going to leave, I'll be barricading the door on your way out. Won't be able to let you back in for anything. Right back at you.
Walter!
Oh, thank heavens. You're all right. Oh, not that I've seen, but I've been drifting in and out. We didn't see the Starborn ship dock until it was too late. By the time we managed to take defensive positions, the doors were already opening. We didn't see him at first. Vladimir went sailing straight into the control room. Then the Starborn was just... there. The rest is just... combat blur. Adrenaline. Pain. Bad habit. I'll be all right. Go and help the others.
You're alive. Krix's ghost can keep waiting. Not many sights to see before I lost the lights. Can't be sure yet. Starborn could have done a lot more damage. Guessing the glitter of the prize wasn't here. Saw the ship dock with the eye. We took up the arms call, but when the doors opened, there was no one there. Skulked in like a damn specter. Before I had to know, it was nothing but pain's wings and the cold sleep. Time's unknown, but I came too long enough to hear him gloat about going to the lodge, and seeing our friends trying to crawl away from him on a bloody trail. No tears for the old. Got the others to worry about.
He came out of nowhere. I only saw the one. We were working on the repairs when the ship docked. We ran to defend the station, but after the doors opened, there wasn't anyone there. Then, all of a sudden, Vladimir screamed in pain, and I saw him flying through the air. That's when I saw the Starborn. It went very quickly after that. Thank you
I don't think I can move right away. But I'll make it. Go on.
I really messed up on this one, friend. Usually the last guy to get outdrawn. I got a good look at him before he knocked me senseless. I know that stance, that arrogance. The hunter works alone. Heard someone shout that a ship was docked with the station. We were all geared up, but there was no one there. Poor Vlad got the first swing. Knocked him back into some of the computers. Lights out. That Starborn just appeared. It's kind of all a blur after that. Back at you. Let's get going.
It went quickly after you left. Walter was upstairs when he screamed. I went to check on them, and then the hunter appeared out of nowhere. We fought him off as best we could, while Noel packed up the artifacts and escaped. We held him off while Noel escaped through the basement. There's a door that leads to the well district.
Hey, Barrett. Barrett, can you hear me? It's Sam. He's got one foot in the pearly gates already. It's over. We're gonna find all those artifacts. Okay, Barrett? We'll solve this mystery. I swear. He's gone. Come on. Let's get going. There's no changing anything now.
I appear to only be seriously damaged instead of critically damaged. Fortunate. The hunter was able to utilize some form of cloaking. He took the members of Constellation by surprise. Noel was able to escape with the artifacts, while the rest of us engaged in hostile maneuvers. The rest was short and violent. That you are likewise relatively undamaged is also preferable to the alternative.
Took you long enough. I didn't see much. I didn't see anything, really. That hunter attacked me, I'm sure of that. I heard the others fighting him. Noelle screaming and running off with the artifacts. Noelle, she might still be in danger. There's a secret door in the basement, leads right to the well district. That would have been the safest route for her to run.
Stay back! I'll... Oh, thank God. Thank God, thank God, thank God. I don't know. I just ran and hid. I keep thinking he's just around the corner. I still have the artifacts, but where do we take them?
Ah, there you are. I wasn't expecting you to run to the eye.
You! You're not getting the artifacts!
Yes. Let's see if they can slip from my grasp this time, shall we? I have to admit, this has been interesting. What are you going to do with the armillary now? I wonder.
I was merely taking the shortest path to my destination. But now, I think I'll just kick back, enjoy the long road. There's a greater purpose to all this. You might have a larger role than I realized. Mistake on my part. Keep collecting the artifacts. We'll meet again. Maybe you'll glimpse the unity and...
You're back. Thank the blackest sea that you and Noel are safe. And the artifacts? The lodge. So, we slip from the Starborn's grasp, but not before taking a stab straight in the heart. We need to talk locks and bolts. Lodge and the Eye are not secure. Years in the making to modify the station. Take time to fix the damage, but more is the worse if we abandon her and try to start over. Just means he's playing the waiting man's game. He'll be back once we've done all the work of collecting the other pieces.
The hunter, he probably found us because we're somewhere obvious. High-populated area, just like how the Starborn found you orbiting Neon the first time. But the fact that they're competing with us to find the artifacts means they can't get them without searching.
So we put the artifacts somewhere in the fringe, or on something that can slip from their grasp if they do another strike from the curtain. Clear from the few encounters we've had that the artifacts are all the Starborn prize.
They could come after us, though. Try to find out where we put them.
Need to take the risk. The Eye, the equipment in the lodge, not easily moved. Gotta hope whatever is giving the hunter pause applies to the whole. Just need to make another direct hit less the jackpot. Hope your walls are high, just in case the Starborn get lucky and find the spot to do the breach and storm.
Here, keep the artifacts safe. I guess we'll meet back at the lodge after?
If I may, I know our encounter with the hunter is the last thing anyone wants to talk about right now, but he said something that I can't get out of my mind. Unity. Do you remember that? Exactly. Somehow. The thing is, I've heard that word before. It's an important concept in Keeper Aquilas's speeches.
The priest? Is the Sanctum Universum going to bless our little crusade of discovery?
It can't be a coincidence. The Sanctum has always believed that answers are out there in the stars. Look, I know it's the longest of shots and the biggest leap of faith I could ever ask us all to take, but why not talk to him? It's right here in the city, just a block or so from the lodge.
I guess it couldn't hurt. I've heard the Keeper's a pretty insightful guy.
Thank you. I know it's not much to go on, but something about this feels right. Keeper Aquilas, can we have a moment?
Oh, Mateo. It's been too long. How are your parents? Your mother still struggling with that azalea garden?
No, she figured that out a while ago. Had to adjust the pH levels in the soil. But, Keeper, I didn't come to catch up.
Oh. Well, what's on both your minds? What?
That's, what we mean is, we think there's something in the Sanctum's teachings connected to what we've been investigating. Keeper, when you talk about unity, well, does it mean anything else? Something secret?
Perhaps you should talk about this inside. Now that we have a little privacy, why don't you tell me exactly what it is that brought you two here?
Seriously, Keeper, they bathe whoever reaches the center in a light, and then, well, the normal laws of the universe go completely haywire.
So you're saying you found a place of contemplation? And you received a gift? There have always been mysteries that seem to defy our understanding of the universe, beyond rational thought. We enter life as an act of someone else's faith in us. There's no way of knowing who we will become, and yet the risk is made anyway. So you've pushed into the unknown, not knowing where it would take you. And it's brought you here. I think I can, if you're willing to find your way in the dark for a bit longer. I can give you a path to discovering its meaning. There's an old story, far older than the Sanctum Universum, of someone who walked the settled systems and saw every corner of it. This pilgrim claimed he found the true meaning of unity. I always thought of it as just a parable for trying to bring humanity together, but maybe it's more. I'm not sure if he was, but if what you're looking for is connected, then anything might be possible. In my story, the pilgrim met the founders of the House of Enlightenment and the enigmatic cult of the Varun, and he gave them each a part of the truth. Then he goes to his final resting place to live out the rest of his days in contemplation of infinitum addendum, his addition or contribution to the infinite. But what if the story isn't a metaphor, but a code, a way of finding the pilgrim again, or at least his grave? But what if it does? Not my version, obviously, but the House of Enlightenment, Varun. I've spoken to them before, but I never thought of scrutinizing their answers for clues. Because I wasn't looking to find unity in the same sense you are. A fresh set of eyes might reveal the truth. The enlightened work out of the well here in New Atlantis, helping the poorest citizens find a better life for themselves. Varun worshippers are more enigmatic, but there is a lone zealot that was captured recently for attacking UC ships. I visited her a couple of times. Hopefully she'll be willing to talk to you as well.
If it's about the financial or food assistance programs, we are backlogged. Don't worry, we're doing everything we can. Oh, we're not. Sorry. Can I help you?
It's actually important, as strange as that may seem.
Listen, I've talked about this with him a ton of times, and there's no record of a Unity pilgrim. But since you both insist, our early records are mostly administrative. Humanitarian projects, group counseling notes, charity expenditures. But there is a series of exchanges the founding members recorded in a lot of detail. It's the closest thing I have to what Aquilus is describing. Yeah, I mean, he's always going on about trying to bring people of all beliefs together. Really wants there to be some shared story or origin. Look, I like the Keeper, but belief is the problem, okay? We don't need a shared narrative or theology. We need to help each other in practical terms. A man walks into the first House of Enlightenment. The founding members just call him the Drifter. So they think he's a charity case at first, but no, the Drifter asks them a bunch of questions. If your philosophy is built on an individual's own morality, what about the second person? That second person might disagree. Isn't the problem of two what you're really looking for? And the founders respond, each individual must understand how the second person lifts them up. All of human effort is a story of cooperation pushing us forward. And it kind of goes on like that. He comes back every week for a year. Same conversation every time. Second person this, the problem of two that. It's part of our core principles. There's no God pushing us to do good for some eternal reward. We have to help each other because we choose to. If no one takes responsibility for making the settled systems better, then we're just leaving it to the tyrants to bully the rest of us. Honestly, I think the founding members made it all up. There was a little more hesitation being openly atheist in the early days. I think they were experimenting with writing their own scripture. Fortunately, that got abandoned pretty quick. After the records of the Drifter end, you never see anything like it again. Besides what the Keeper would say about it, sounds like a gathering point, or a center. Or in mathematics, it would mean one, like the one, the first or the beginning. Always happy to help. If you'll excuse me, I've got a lot of aid efforts to coordinate.
A visitor? I have all the company I need. Jokes. You come to hear about Varun. Like the guards. Like the Keeper.
Yeah, these zealots not really known for their sense of humor. Or fashion choices.
The Great Serpent waits in the shadows. He will entwine the universe, and all but the faithful will be made as dust. That is the truth. No more, no less.
I mean, I agree with you, but is now the time?
It is not an answer, for there is no question. The Great Serpent will come. All concerns are meaningless in the face of the oblivion he will assuredly bring. You wish to speak of the Keeper's pilgrim, do you not? I will tell you of him, and then you will leave. Jinan Varun meets the unbeliever. He gives false prophecy to Jinan. But such is Jinan's conviction in the Great Serpent, he does not hesitate. He cuts the unbeliever down. But the unbeliever returns. Jinan realizes the Great Serpent is testing him, and he will not be found wanting. 4 times they fight. Over 120 rotations of the planet they are on. Remember these 4 battles, Jinan, the unbeliever says. Remember these 120 rotations. But Jinan knows this is blasphemy, and delivers the killing blow. That is all. I have heard of no such thing. If it exists, it is a shadow that the Great Serpent casts to deceive the faithless. Strength and conviction show your worthiness to the Great Serpent. The kill is not as important as showing there is no doubt. I grow tired of speaking. Leave me.
Well, you're back. What did you learn? Was there something hidden in their stories, like we thought? Yes. What he added to infinity. Maybe that points to a name. If we're looking for his resting place, we'd need to know the name of the star system, wouldn't we? What else did you learn? If there really is a location the Pilgrim wanted us to find, those do sound awfully like coordinates. Was there anything else? Planets are often named by number. That second might mean the second planet in the system. Let's see. We have something that could be coordinates. Something that could point to a planet in the system. But what's the name of the system? Infinitum addendum. What if we break down the parts? No systems named finite or add. That just leaves in and dumb. Well, that's certainly how I feel. Well, I suppose that'll make someone laugh. Yes, that's it. The second planet in Indum, at 4 and 120. That's where you'll find the Pilgrim's resting place. And from there, maybe you'll find the true meaning of unity. Before you go, you've now spoken to many different perspectives in our universe. In a way, you'll be carrying their philosophies with you on this journey. I know you're looking for a specific unity, but if you had to guess what it was, what interpretation would you give it? But what makes something like that holy? Gravity is also a force that brings things together. Should that be sanctified? Yes and no. We believe God is out there waiting for us in the universe, and that the grav jump will bring us closer. But is gravity itself an article of faith? What do you think? It is one of the great contradictions of belief. We feel the presence of something out there, but we insist that it is also everywhere. So you think this word unity describes that divine unknowableness that the pilgrim searched for?
This guy's really hard to follow. Can we just get a straight answer?
Well, I won't keep you any longer. This has been fun, I have to admit. Go, find your truth.
There's too many people suffering, and not enough hands reaching out to help. The weather has been good, so things are good. If you don't have a home when it gets cold or rainy, that's when it gets rough.
If you're serious, I'm drowning in work. Philbone Agricultural Systems feeds basically everyone in the stretch. Bless the Philbone brothers. But their latest IntelliWheat shipment is late. I'm not worried yet, but getting there. Could you ask Sarah Philbone what the holdup is, very politely? We buy it at a deep, deep discount, below their costs. I know not everyone approves of Henry getting more into brewing, but I don't care. The whole family has earned my eternal thanks. This is a huge help. If there's anything you can do to speed up the wheat delivery, please do it. I'll have more work for you when you get back.
After the Stone Road Inn disaster, I think Henry's going to have to accept facts and stop this brewing nonsense. I know, we're late. It's been this whole frustrating episode. Short version, the farming equipment outside the walls needs to be manually rebooted. But the guards aren't going to be able to send people to fix it for days. We're committed to helping the unfortunates on the stretch, but the Ashta are just too dangerous for us to send someone. The full story would take ages. Henry is supposed to be on top of production issues. But his precious latest batch of beer is at a critical point. Whatever the hell that means. And Aldwin Wright's robots should have been overhauled a month ago, but he's just one man, and all of Aquila needs him pretty much all the time. So, whether we're supposed to or not, Weston and I are handling it. You've taken down an Ashta? More than one? Wow. If you get it rebooted, I'll get the harvest going ASAP. We can get the wheat to Amira quick. I'll talk with my husband, but I'm sure we could arrange payment. You'd be helping our business too, after all. Just be careful. Ashta are very dangerous.
The emergency fund's empty, so please, hurry. That is good news. What was the holdup anyway? Oh, that makes sense. Aren't they outside the walls? Wait, you went outside the walls, didn't you? Please, don't risk yourself like that. If anyone got hurt working for the Low House. I hate to ask it, but this next errand should be safe. Easy. Everything runs on charity. And our benefactors, though kind, I think sometimes, well, get sick of seeing me. A new face may ease up the purse strings, or at least save me some errands. It's touch and go sometimes. Pests are too much, and they could turn their back on the project. Too little, and people suffer. So, the mayor, Elias Cartwright, has always been generous to us, but it's been a while since he's donated. Raisha Lands is a huge benefactor. Laredo Firearms has been vital for us. Both of those are routine, more polite reminders, really. The last is a long shot, probably futile, but the Trade Authority is incredibly wealthy, and they have never ever donated to us. If you could convince Duncan Lynch to give us anything, heck, a single credit even, I'd consider it a victory. You are a breath of fresh air. Once you're done with that, come back to me.
Welcome to Aquila City's Trade Authority. I'm the local representative for the organization. In that capacity, I work with merchants and business people and local leaders to make sure trade flows regularly and efficiently to and from the city. With the long lag times of interstellar communication, we wanted to have someone here in person to talk face to face and make quick decisions. After all, the Trade Authority's work is vital to the continued growth and prosperity of Aquila City. I do have need of a courier. A simple job. The timetable isn't even an issue. But it requires discretion and no questions. Take this message to the Den. There's a Trade Authority rep there, Marcel. Just give the paper to him. If you could take a roundabout path to get there, that would be best. And that's the last we will speak of this. The Trade Authority has a firm policy of not getting involved in internal matters. We're neutral in all affairs of the governments of the Freestar Collective and the United Colonies. Sorry. I dutifully follow the policies laid out by the Trade Authority. I'm done discussing this matter.
I'm pleased you chose to visit us today. Oh. So Amira has some help? Good. She's going to work herself into an early grave if she's not careful. Laredo Firearms prides itself in helping out all the residents of Aquila City. I'll send Justin over to deliver our monthly donation. The trite answer would be a sense of civic responsibility. But the truth? Guilt. To achieve the level of success I have, broken promises, neglected loved ones, and tough calls. Donations like this are a way of making amends. Well, if the Rangers think the Low House needs more help, I'll tell Amira that Laredo is ready to help the community more. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Hello there. So good to see you. What day is it? Oh, shoot. I forgot. I'll send over my usual monthly donation to Amira. She truly is a wonder. And with the building project her and Mr. Tate are planning, there may be a day when the stretch is a distant memory. Well, from me. Unlike the UC, we don't tax our people to death. The city's budget is very tight, so it falls to the community to look after its own. You're not wrong there, are you? And with the election... I'll talk with Amira. Our family could afford a bit more. I just wish others learned from the fine example you're setting.
Don't let Raisha fool you. She built and owns a powerful corporation. Not that you would know it. Both Elias and Raisha told me they're increasing their donation. You are something else. No word from the Trade Authority. I'm sorry I even asked. I like to believe everyone is capable of empathy and compassion, but people like Duncan test my faith. I didn't say that, but I'm not going to correct you. Sarah Philborn gave me these credits to give to you for your help with the farm. You more than deserve it. Those credits are from the grateful Philborns, not me. And I wouldn't take a single one. You've earned it. I have one more thing for you to do. But I hope it's more of a reward. This is part of the Intellowit harvest. I'd like you to deliver it to Simone Jansen and her family. I want you to see the fruits of your labors.
Amira said to expect you. This wheat ensures my family won't go to bed hungry. I genuinely don't know what my family would do without Amira. And you have no idea how much it means. She does. Whether rain or shine, she's there for us, always smiling, always comforting. I didn't believe in saints before I got to Aquila City, but I do now. Over here in Aquila, it's humbling to see regular people just looking after us. On behalf of my family, of my daughter, bless you.
That's because we did jump past it.
Robin, can you go 5 minutes without interrupting me?
Maybe if you listened to me every once in a while, I wouldn't have to interrupt you.
Already got one, thanks. She's the one who suggested this damn trip. Visit the big city, she said. The excitement will be good for you two.
Oh, if only someone had suggested a quiet weekend at home instead of traipsing around the entire galaxy in a rental ship.
If only. Look, do you know the way or not? The sooner we get off the ship, the better. How about that, Robin? I told you I knew where we were.
Well, you don't have to look so smug about it.
I'm never gonna hear the end of this. Thanks for your help. Make your way.
Hey, newbie. It's a nice set of boots you got there. They for sale? I'll give you, say, 500 credits for them. They'd look better on me anyway. Nothing. I just want yours. I don't know. Looks like they're perfect. Sturdy, polished, and just my size. But fine. If you don't want to sell, it's your loss.
It's a beautiful day to be alive. Yes, you can ask me anything. It's coming along brilliantly, Captain. Thank you for asking. Traveling with you has provided me some fascinating research material. As I've told you before, I believe you're the agent of a great destiny. Living so closely with you has helped shape my theories on fate in particular. Only bits and pieces of the first draft. I intend to compose the entire thing when I get too old to continue traveling. When that time comes, I'll retire to Avalon and spend my final years in scholarly pursuit at the homestead where I grew up. You've helped me understand that fate and free will are deeply intertwined, and that there's room for both in my philosophy. You're an extremely good example of how someone with a cosmic destiny to fulfill can shape the future with conscious choices. I believe that the decisions made by people like you are capable of shaping the entire universe. I can't wait to hear what you think of it. Traveling closely with you has been a big inspiration to me. I have every intention of including you in it. I sincerely hope I can do your story justice.
What's good? I didn't know chit-chat was part of my job. I took a bounty contract that went bad. A group of spacers hired me to white-line this hotshot pilot who was damaging their ships. But they forgot to mention the guy was a fleeter. When his buddies heard I'd nixed one of their own, they came looking for revenge. They shot up my ship and towed me to the middle of nowhere, then emptied my cargo hold and left me to die. Assholes. No, I haven't. You don't end up with a long career as a hired gun by taking bad contracts. I don't plan on making it a habit. Dunno. My ship's instruments were toast, so I couldn't tell time. But it was long enough that the pistol they left me started looking like a good way out. You bet your ass I did. 8 ships came after me. Only 5 made it home. Would have been more if they hadn't destroyed my cannons. They were damn good pilots. Better than their buddy, anyway. I never would have taken that contract if I knew my target was a pirate. Only nutjobs with a death wish mess with the Crimson Fleet. Those spacers better hope I never see them again. Screwing with me is one thing, but my ship got trashed because of them. That's worth a punch in the face. Anything else? My specialty's always been kill contracts. I don't mind getting my hands dirty if the pay's good enough. The type of personal disputes people hire a bounty hunter to settle usually require a permanent solution anyway. No, we all go someday. I'm just doing nature's work. If it makes you feel better, nice people don't end up on my hit list. I'm not out there killing people's grandmas or anything. Longer than most people in my profession. I used to get my jobs through the Trackers Alliance, but I work solo now. Less people getting in my business that way. Nobody's asking you to. That's what people like me are for, boss. It's been a hell of a life. No family, no hometown. Just me and Lucky Lou traveling the space lanes, handing out death certificates to the settled system's worst. Nothing to tie me down. That's the way I like it. My ship, you might remember her. She's the one you found blown to hell in deep space. No, not my style. My ship's the only partner I need. Machines are a hell of a lot more reliable than people. Not for me. I make my living white-lining criminals. That should tell you how I feel about most people. Can I get back to work now, or what? Lou's the only ship I've ever flown. I bought her off a trade authority pilot when I was just a young punk. She was basically just a pile of scrap with an engine. But her wings worked, which made her my ticket out of the well where I grew up. And getting out of there is the best thing that ever happened to me. If it wasn't for Lou, I'd be wasting my time pickpocketing strangers on the street and getting hammered at Jake's. Her name was Luna when I bought her. That's where I got Lou from. Lucky is because she got off the ground at all. The guy I bought her from said she'd never clear Jemison's atmosphere without catching on fire. Shows you what the hell he knew about anything. You ever been down there? It's packed with criminals and almost everyone's dirt poor. Not exactly kid-friendly. I grew up in Sub-17, one of the roughest eyesores in the place. My parents couldn't afford better. They made most of their credits as petty thieves. So did I, before I started hunting bounties. My pickpocketing habit paid for Lucky Lou. No way in hell. Lou's not just a ship. She's my partner. I'd take her over any fancy Tayo starship. Sorry to break it to you, but you might have missed your only chance. That repair kit you gave me got her started again, but she was barely running when I got to port. The guys at the repair shop said she needs a new engine. And I haven't taken any contracts since we started working together, so credits are tight. I can't afford that kind of repair. I guess old Lou's good luck streak might have finally run out. Real helpful, Professor. Well, if that was the last thing the old girl ever did for me, I'm glad she went out on a high note. She was a real badass ship. Are we done here?
It's always a good day when we get to chat. Of course, Captain. I was raised in Hope Town on Polvo. It's a corporate town run by Ron Hope, the CEO of Hope Tech Manufacturing. He likes to sell it as a utopia, a place where workers are provided everything they need for a happy life. But that's a lie. The conditions are awful for the average person in Hope Town. Almost everyone there lives hand to mouth. Hope Tech is a starship manufacturer. They make cargo freighters and other industrial vehicles. Most of them are clunky eyesores, barely suited for grav jumping. But people keep buying them, so Hope Tech keeps making them. I grew up on the edge of poverty, like most working-class people in Hope Town. My parents' wages from Hope Tech barely kept food on the table. For a long time, I couldn't imagine my life any other way. Ron Hope does a good job making sure his workers feel like they're being cared for. It wasn't until I got old enough to start working in the factories myself that I started to understand how bad things really were. It's Ron Hope's fault. He controls everything that happens in Hopetown. Our entire economy is dependent on him. There's nothing stopping him from increasing wages and improving safety in his factories, but he won't do it. Keeping your workforce poor and plying them with cheap liquor at company stores is a good way to keep them around. I think more people would if they had the chance, but Hope Tech makes it almost impossible. They barely make enough to keep the lights on, let alone start a new life outside of Hopetown. That's why I joined the Freestar Rangers. I knew they'd fly me to Aquila for training, and I wanted to do something more meaningful with my life than building starships. I thought being a ranger would be a perfect fit, but it didn't turn out like I was expecting. Boarding the ship to leave Hopetown might be the best thing that happened to me while I was a deputy. In the stories I heard growing up, the Rangers were always described as the ultimate champions of justice in the galaxy. But if you've spent any time in the Freestar Collective, it's obvious that they haven't even made a dent in the problems there. Just look at Neon. Poverty and crime are all over the city, but the Rangers barely bothered to patrol it. Learning that made me reconsider my opinion of them. Why? Because I want the best for the people around me? It isn't my problem that most of the settled systems doesn't seem to share my way of thinking. Hopetown is far from the only place with problems in the Freestar Collective. Leaving Polvo opened my eyes to that. It showed me that Ron Hope's attitude isn't unique. The Freestar Collective is full of people willing to take advantage of others to get what they want. And there are barely any systems in place to stop them. No one to tell them no or punish them for it. That's the downside of the Freestar way of doing things, huh? No social safety nets. It's hard for anyone born into poverty to improve their situation, especially with people like Ron Hope and Benjamin Bayou in power. He's the administrator of Neon. He basically owns the city. I like to say that not a credit gets spent on Volai Alpha that doesn't end up in Bayou's pocket. I feel sorry for anyone who has to grow up there. Polvo was bad, but at least we didn't have violent gangs. I'd call myself the exception, not the rule. Most people can't just hop on a starship and become a Freestar deputy. The longer I spent with the Rangers, the more I started to feel like they serve the Freestar Collective's government more than its citizens. I couldn't make peace with the fact that an organization that claimed to stand for freedom and individuality let places like Hopetown exist. Eventually, the hypocrisy was too much. I made the decision to resign and move to the UC. It seemed like people there might share more of my views. There's a reason the United Colonies and the Freestar Collective have never quite seen eye to eye. They do things very differently. The UC provides services like healthcare and job placement for its citizens. Those kind of things don't exist in the Freestar Collective. My opinions about the government's responsibility to its citizens seem to fit better with the UC's way of doing things. It was the right decision, but it wasn't an easy one. My family is still in Hopetown. That was almost enough to keep me from leaving the Freestar Collective. But I had my mind set on finding a better place for all of us. I've been trying to find my parents a way out of Hopetown for years. I thought if I moved to the UC and found out things were better there, they might finally be willing to consider it. I thought I did, at first. New Atlantis is clean and safe, and most of the people there are happy. And it seemed like the government was doing a lot to keep it that way. But my perspective changed after I took an entry-level job with UC Security. They stationed me in the well. I couldn't believe the conditions down there. It made all the UC talk of a perfect society seem like propaganda. The more I started looking around, the more cracks I saw in the whole thing. The UC makes a show of promising job placement and housing options to all its citizens. But if those programs exist in the well, there's no sign of them. Most people down there live in the same conditions I saw in Hopetown. There's crime and unemployment, and a lack of good medical care. It's nothing like the rest of New Atlantis. But you'd never know that from the outside, of course. Their treatment of the soul system to begin with. It's one of humanity's greatest treasures, and they've let it fall into total disarray. The UC's insistence on maintaining a large and well-equipped military is also a bit off-putting. If they're committed to intergalactic peace, why do they need it? Those are the kinds of questions you almost never hear UC citizens ask. I think that comes down to good marketing on Mast's part. I think the UC government doesn't like people challenging its decisions, or remembering its history in too much detail. Mast did some horrific things during the Colony War. They'd rather people forget about them, especially citizens who might start demanding a change. The best way to maintain the status quo is to keep people from examining things closely. Consistent propaganda is a good tool for that. It all seems just a little bit too shiny when you really start to look closely, huh? I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks so. Once the wool fell from my eyes, living in New Atlantis lost its luster. That's when I decided life in the major factions wasn't for me. The problems run too deep. There's corruption and division everywhere, and not enough people are willing to see it. I don't think that will change anytime soon. It seems to me like the only option is starting over, huh? Founding a colony without the influence of massive governments and corporations. Maybe people would be kinder to each other in a place like that. I've always tried to see the best in people. I really believe that the average person wants what's best for everyone around them. I think without the influence of big governments and greedy corporations, people will treat each other better. You read my mind, Captain. You're really getting to know me, huh? I've been thinking about the idea of founding my own settlement for a while. It isn't in my nature to sit around while the problems in the settled systems get worse. But I'm not rushing into anything. If I'm really going to do this, I need to get a better sense of how people live all over the settled systems. That means visiting the major cities and looking at both the good things and the bad. That way, I can decide what things I want to keep and what I am going to leave behind. Good thing I'm working for a captain that likes to travel, huh? We'll hit all the major cities in no time. I appreciate it. And don't you worry, I won't let this distract me from my normal duties. You're still the boss.
I do love it, you know. Sidonia. Just wish everyone else felt the same way. Whatever floats your boat, Captain. I did, yeah. It went better than I thought it would. I took your advice and told her how much I regretted not being there for her while she was growing up. You had it exactly right, Captain. Phoebe wrote me back, and she told me she's willing to give me another shot. I can't tell you what a relief that was. Me too, Captain. I have a lot of ground to cover before she'll trust me again, but I have a pretty good idea where to start. Phoebe told me in her message that she's thinking about moving to New Atlantis and starting a career as a professional pilot. Only thing she's missing is a ship. Mine's been gathering dust in the hangar in Sidonia since I left with you. I gave it to her so she can get out of the Sol system and start her career. Owning that ship is the reason I was able to join the Vanguard. Oh, I'd be over the moon if it had helped Phoebe start her dream job too.
Finally gonna ask me for an autograph? Normally you need a press badge for that kind of thing. But I'll let it slide. Yeah, I did. Talking to you about it got me thinking about the whole situation again, and I decided telling her I survived was the right thing to do. Lying to Jan just wasn't sitting right with me. She worked hard, just as hard as I did, to make a name for herself. I couldn't sleep knowing I threw that back in her face. I sent the message to the office, too, just to make sure Jan wouldn't get in any more trouble for what happened to me. They agreed to let it slide, on the condition that I write a farewell column to let the fans know I'm officially retired. Yeah, she was. The office really put her through the ringer over the situation. But now that I've sorted it out with them, things are going more smoothly. I'm sure Jan and I will be back to chatting it up over a Terra Brew in no time. Oh, well, turns out I was wrong about that whole thing. The office did send a team after us once they realized we'd been gone a few days too long. They, haven't come back yet. I'm guessing the creatures on that planet got them. Someone upstairs must really be looking out for me, huh? Sorry, boss. I'm sure you're used to the people you employ falling over themselves to take your advice, but I march to the beat of my own drum. Besides, doing the right thing makes a touching end cap to the against all odds survival story I'm going with for my column. Every day, boss. Every damn day. No offense, but this operation's not exactly tried at luxury. I'm used to traveling in a little more style. But hey, it beats scavenging for food on an uninhabited planet with hungry aliens on your tail and no way to call for help. Long story short, I could do worse. And leave you without your best sidekick? Nah, I don't think so. I know you'd be totally lost without me.
Was there something you needed? Thank you. Did you have any trouble en route? Good. Very good. Here's your pay, and your continued discretion would be appreciated.
It's hard work keeping everyone happy in my little community, but I try my best. Oh, you heard? I was just kvetching to myself. Mostly I just need to find someone with a ship, but hey, you're someone with a ship, aren't you? I'll save you the spiel, but ever since we found out that people exist out there, the crew's been asking me if we could track down possible relatives. I made the mistake of looking some up, and now they want to connect with them. Now, I'm not gonna ask you to schlep anyone back and forth, but could you deliver these messages for us to connect our crew with their relatives? Oh, you're such a mensch! Thank you! Let me get you the letter and the information you'll need to track down the relative.
Oh, I've heard about you. The visitor who helped us get into the situation we're now in, roaming the galaxy with no end in sight. Sorry, I don't mean to be ungrateful or rude. I'm just frustrated. Still pretty terrible, even though we're now supposedly on our way to our new home. I'm still stuck here with the same people and the same job, day in and day out. Only now, we occasionally see other space travelers. I was really hoping we could finally settle somewhere, because then at least I could hitch a ride out of wherever we landed. Sometimes I wonder if my sister was the lucky one. Well, one of them. I do have a sister on board, Julia, but I'm not talking about her. Julia and I were actually triplets with our sister Jen, but the ship ran out of one of her medications and she didn't make it. Sucks, but it is what it is. We only have so many supplies. We couldn't exactly get anything new along the way. Anyway, it happened a long time ago. I don't really feel that she's lucky. I'm just frustrated. Certainly not what I want to do. I mean, I hate this job, and there's really nothing I can do about it. I'm the cultivation manager. Fancy words for farmer and fertilizer collector. I didn't have a choice. Most people don't. You get a job, and that's it. Like, I'm great at what I do, but I would enjoy doing literally anything else. Meanwhile, my sister Julia, she gets to hang out with kids all day and watch movies. The kids I couldn't care less about, but she doesn't even care about Earth culture. Ugh! Is it that obvious? Breckenridge is intent on finding a home just as perfect as Paradiso, and it's clear that's never going to happen. I'd love to leave. But outside of you and the occasional passing trade ships we make contact with, there aren't any ways off this ship. And besides, Breckenridge forbids it. I've tried. She insists we stay together for the sake of the community. I'm stuck here. It's a long shot. You've dealt with her. You know she can be stubborn. But then again, you did make her see reason before and set us on this path. Maybe you can do it again and fix this mess. Sorry, I know it may not sound like it, but I'd actually be really grateful to you if you succeed.
This ain't no prison, and if you don't want to be here, you have the right to leave. We'll get her to change her mind.
My crew may not realize it now, but we will be much happier with a home of our own. Understandably, some are disappointed that we gave up our home, but I think I've managed to convince them that this will be best in the long term. I have no doubt that even if it takes more time, we will manage to find something even better. And it's important to remember we're still way ahead of our original schedule. Everything will be fine. That's a good question. But I firmly believe that establishing our own home is what our ancestors would want for us. I think that we will assimilate to some degree, particularly when it comes to trade and exchange of ideas. However, we've fared by ourselves for so long, it would be unreasonable for our people to give up our own sovereignty in favor of a completely different society's rules and expectations. It may seem like it's about me maintaining control, but it's more about avoiding massive culture shock. We'll get there, but we'll need to ease into it so future generations can reap the benefits. I'm well aware of Janet's desire to leave. I'll tell you the same thing I told her. For the sake of our mission and community, we need to stay together. Each member of our community is valuable, especially Janet. If she left, we'd be at least a couple of weeks behind in food production while we trained someone to fill her role. But I suppose if you brought us more food staples to tide us over while that happens, we could do it. Say, a large quantity of potatoes? I'll be the judge of that. It's not a definite no. I just need to think about it some more. Well, you've got away with words, I'll give you that. Once again, you've convinced me to do the right thing. And while I'm not happy about letting one of our own go, I think you're right. It's for the best. Let her know she's free to leave on the next ship willing to take her. I just hope this doesn't prompt others to want to leave as well.
Sometimes it's best to let someone that's miserable go. They can drag everyone around them down.
It'll be a miracle if you can get through to Captain Brackenridge. Wait, for real? How? I thought I was going to have to escape on my own somehow, but if she's given me her blessing, that's even better. If I'm being honest, I should have known you can do it. After all, you're the reason we're still out here. I heard about what you did for us, getting that grav drive or whatever. I was kind of hoping you'd overhear me and offer to help earlier. I probably should have just asked you, but I guess I'm not good at asking for help. Anyway, thanks for helping me. I know you didn't need to. Julia? Oh, she'll be fine. She loves this stupid ship. I've tried talking her into coming with me, but she won't budge. Like almost everyone else, she believes in the original mission. Whatever. I'm sure I'll hear news of the Constant's whereabouts. Maybe I'll even come back to visit. She's my sister, after all. No idea. One of the techs who helped retrofit the grav drive onto the Constant mentioned a place called New Atlantis. Maybe I'll check it out. It sounded interesting. Anyway, seems like a good place to start, especially if I want to find a job that isn't farming. Thanks again. I'm going to need it. It's a whole new world out there. I hope we meet again someday.
Hello. It might surprise you to hear that no, I have not. This is actually the first project I've led for Stroud Eklund. I recently graduated with a master's degree in engineering management. I'm actually kind of surprised they hired me, but I was at the top of my class, so maybe they didn't want to lose me to some other star yard. Anyway, I'm grateful for the chance to do good work here. It means I'm responsible for making sure our projects are carried through to completion. I'm not the one calling all the shots per se, but I do need to ensure the people making those calls are empowered to do that within the limits the executive set for us. You must be Walter's colleague. He informed me that you'd be taking charge of Project Kepler despite the fact that we have a fully dedicated R&D staff already assigned to it. But that's okay. I'm sure that even though you have virtually no experience with this, you'll do a great job. Oh, I just assumed. You know what? I'm really sorry. I should trust Walter knew what he was doing. My bad.
Even so, we have plenty of designers.
As you probably know, we're tasked with coming up with Stroud Eklund's next hit starship. But we have budget concerns, market research to finish, and we can't seem to agree on a design. So I guess Walter sent you to resolve these issues. Have at it. There are a lot of factors to consider. Who is our market and what do they want in a ship? Which components are we putting into it? How fast should it go? How much cargo capacity should it have? What color should it be? We need to decide every little detail. Sure, I'm Jules, R&D project lead. Was the one making all the big decisions. I suppose I just coordinate now. You already heard from Frank. He's lead designer on the project, focused on the look and feel of the ships. There's Ella, another senior designer. She focuses on some of the more technical designs of ships. Went to school with Frank. Mike is our senior engineer, responsible for consulting on all the technical bits, the machinery, the computer systems, etc. And then there's Nev. She's here for marketing. It's her job to weigh in and sell this thing to consumers. Ah, right, so you mentioned. Let's move on to solving our budget issues then, shall we? We were charged with building the newest, hottest ship on the market, which won't be possible unless we petition the board for more money. So we have 2 new budget proposals. One will allow us to build what I consider to be a very sensible ship, but we'll have to make some tough design cuts. The other will allow us much more flexibility to put whatever we want into the ship. It's what I call the kitchen sink proposal. I don't love it, but it'll be next to impossible to approve. What should we go with? While it's true we'd be able to afford to put anything and everything into that design, it's just not practical, and the board will put more pressure on us to see that it succeeds. I worry that without constraints, my team will be disincentivized to focus this ship in any given direction, and they'll try to cram in everything but the kitchen sink, hence the name. Who knows what kind of monstrosity we'd create if we tried to incorporate all of our designs? And would something that expensive actually sell? It's more that we can only choose certain design elements at the expense of others. In other words, if we go with something in Mike's design, there's not enough money in the budget for what Ella wants. That's one of the reasons we haven't been able to agree on anything. I'd love to, seriously. It would be a huge win for us if we came in under or at that budget. But none of the viable designs for this project can be made for that amount. I've already rejected that budget, so I have to go to the board regardless. And since you're now responsible for the major decisions, which budget proposal we go with falls on you. I was afraid you'd say that. Look, I'm the one who has to go to the board with this proposal, so before I can convince them this is going to be worth it, you're going to need to convince me. Well, I'm all ears because it's going to take a miracle to convince them. A smart leader knows when some ideas just aren't worth pursuing. Well, worst case scenario, our jobs would be safe, and I'm sure the board would only take issue with you. Sure. I'm not an unreasonable person, you know. I try to be. Okay, I think you made some good points. I'll go to the board with the kitchen sink proposal and get that approved.
Make your best pitch, Jules. You don't get many chances to fight for your dreams.
Great, that's one problem solved. I'll go forward with that budget proposal and we can move on. Next, we need to gather some market data. The best way to do this is to outfit your ship with some sensors and take it through some real-world scenarios so we can make more informed design decisions. Well, Mr. Stroud believes you fit in our target demographic. We heard about some of your adventures, and we tend to agree that getting data from someone like you will be helpful. Frankly, most of our test pilots played a little too safe, and the scenarios we run don't push the limits as much as we can get away with legally. But luckily, we don't have those same concerns with you, because you're not technically employed by us, and Walter trusts you. Great! Just pick up a mission or two at the mission board and proceed like you normally would. We'll collect the data when you return. If you take on a variety of missions, we can build a ship to handle a variety of scenarios. But if you just fly one mission, we can build a more focused ship. It's up to you. In the meantime, you might also want to talk with the team, get to know them, give feedback on their proposals, etc. Good luck out there.
I'm wondering if we need another chef in the kitchen. Then again, I hear Walter brought you in to finally make a decision around here. Well, how do I put this? My co-workers are smart people. But between you and me, they're in way over their head with this project. Jules especially. She's new at being a project lead and has insisted we design by committee, so everyone's voice is heard. Admirable. But no one could agree on anything, and we're running significantly behind because of it. Good. Just so long as you don't push us to make anything too nutty. I think your decisiveness will put us back on the right track. Speaking of which, I think my plan will get us where we need to be as quickly and efficiently as possible. It's simple, no frills, and most importantly, won't cause me any major headaches on the engineering side. Let me tell you, all the creative minds around here are so concerned with designing the most innovative and fancy ships possible. They never stop to think about the kind of work it takes to do that in a reasonable time frame. Yes, we're engineers. Our job is to make the bloody impossible possible. But that doesn't mean it's easy or practical. That and there's never enough of us to go around. Couldn't figure it out from the engineering talk? I'm an engineer, mate. It means I'm the one who's got to put together all these plans and actually make the bloody ship fly. Been doing it for going on 25 years at various star yards. They still haven't realized this place would fall apart if not for me. And instead of letting me get to my work, they keep giving me fancy new titles and got me tied up in endless meetings like this one. Of course you do. Because you've been in my shoes and you know it's the only sensible way to go with a project like this. So I'm thinking, there's loads of fighters. No sense in mucking about with that again. And we've already got one of the best luxury liners in the biz. What I figure is, the cargo running business is booming, and no one's quite built a personal craft like that to serve the working class folk. Nothing fancy, no frills, just a simple, sturdy, inexpensive ship with cargo room up the wazoo and make it so easy my cousin's little moppet could fly it. Our objective should be to build a huge ship with plenty of cargo room while keeping the costs low. Doesn't need fancy equipment, just the basics. Basic weapons, basic defenses, basic scanners. You get the idea. If we go with a design like that, I can focus on quality construction and the ship will practically sell itself. Wait, really? I was expecting we'd have to argue a bit more than that. Well, that's a relief. I hope you're being sincere. Because if I can convince them to go with mine, it'd save us all a lot of trouble in the end. I assume you mean the company and not the people. Because even if I didn't already think so, I'd tell you that both Walter and Issa are great. The company's still kind of young as far as Star Yards go, but it seems to be going in the right direction, despite what it may look like. I've been doing this for a while at other Star Yards, and so far, we're avoiding a lot of the mistakes some of the older corps have made. Yeah, that's me, innit? Been here since the start of the company. Done engineering for going on 30 years total. But I keep telling them, it's senior, not lead engineer. I've got no interest in being lead. Too much management. Not enough tactile work. And yet here I am. Resigned to my fate on the R&D team. Nope. Not really. I like to think I don't have the ego for it. I've got nothing to prove, and I don't rightly care to make my mark on the industry. All I want to do is build the best damn starships I can, and not get bogged down with all the excess particulars. But upper management loves the work I do, and they wouldn't let me say no to this. I guess they needed someone to keep everyone's heads out of the clouds, so here I am.